Hey, everybody out there in podcast land. This is Severin Henderson, host of Firecast. That's the new name for the podcast, formerly known as Department 3C Presents a Podcast. And Department 3C Presents a Podcast connected to Fire. Now it's just Firecast, presented by Department 3C. We had that contest, and that was the winner. Anyway, here to tell you about, just give you some notes about an episode that we have coming up today. First of the year, we haven't had a chance to get into the studio and get going. This was my first time getting in, so I had a guest. I have one of my good buddies that I used to work at the same firehouse with, Dekalb Walcott, and he brought his wife and his stepdaughter. They're going to talk about endometriosis on the episode. It's a disease that I didn't know a lot about. I generally, at least heard, well, I have heard of it, but I didn't know how in depth it went. So they give their experiences with the disease, how it goes, how it's affecting their lives and things like that. We also have some information inside of the podcast where you can donate to the causes, because currently there is no cure. So we just want to spread some information, let you know about things that are going on out there, and hopefully you can get a chance to donate. I'll give the website real quick, and then, like I said, inside the podcast again, we give it again, but the website is www.endometriosisassociation.org. To spell it out, it's www.endometriosis.org, and you can find out more information about the disease. But that's what this episode is about, and I hope you enjoy it. As always, if you like the episode, please offer us some feedback. If you don't like the episode, offer us some feedback. Our email address is info@department3c.com. You can catch us at the website, department3c.com. You can find me on most socials at department3c.com. And personally, you can connect with me at I am Sevy on most socials. That's just @ I am SEVY. All my friends and family, call me Sevy. You can call me Sevy too. Without further ado, we get to the episode. Hello, everyone out there in podcast land. This is your host, Severin Henderson, back again with, I think, the second episode of the year of Department 3C Presents Firecast. Got a new name, a new podcast name. That's pretty cool, huh? You like that? Yeah, okay.
Yes, definitely.
And today we're going to have a discussion about endometriosis. It's the month of March currently, and that's Endometriosis Awareness Month. And I have one of my good buddies here. He's been on the show before, Dekalb Walcott. Dekalb?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing?
How are you today?
We're all right.
Since I keep messing up the names, I'm going to let you do the introduction of the names, just to kind of take me off the hook.
Okay. Well, for Endometriosis Awareness Month, I'm bringing in my wife, Catiria Walcott Rosario, and my lovely daughter, Xianili Garcia.
Hello.
And they're going to pretty much be sharing their experiences with endometriosis. And might I add, it's a very, I wouldn't say rare, more and more people are coming out with it, but a lot of people, including doctors and healthcare workers, don't know, about it and how to deal with it, because there's not a cure for it. So, hopefully the stories from my wife, daughter, and even me, for the husbands out there who have wives with endo, it'll help you guys, help us all be able to push forward and, maybe one day finding a cure and how to, deal with this so it doesn't have as bad of an impact as it seems to have been having.
Okay, that sounds excellent. So my experience with the subject, well, I even talk about how the podcast came about. I'm always looking for content. I'm always looking to talk with people, and Dekalb hit me up. He said, "Hey, you got anything going on podcast wise?" I'm like, "Nah, not really. Why? What you got?" He said, "Well, my wife, my daughter, it's March, it's Endometriosis Awareness Month, and I would like to come on and talk about it." And he got them to both come on and talk about it. So, without more from us two guys, ladies, I'll start with Mom first. Is that cool? Okay. So, I'm super layman. I don't even know really what endometriosis is. So can you explain to me and the audience what exactly it is?
Endometriosis is a tissue that grows outside a female's or a uterus, and it causes cysts, fibroids, tumors, those type of things. It's like a invisible illness, you could say, and it's very painful.
Oh, okay.
Usually it comes out when we have our menstrual cycle. At an early age. I was diagnosed at 10 years old, and so was my daughter as well. It's hereditary, so.
Okay. So it's a hereditary disease that comes around menstrual cycle. So I take it that it's woman only. It doesn't affect men at all?
It affects some men, yes.
It affects some men?
Yes. In the prostate.
In the prostate, okay, because I was going to ask, how does it affect men and where?
Yes, the prostate. Yes.
Prostate, okay. So all the more reason for us to take good care of ourselves, make sure we go to get those regular doctor's appointments, and like I said, make sure that we're taking care of ourselves at all times, right?
Yes.
So 10 and 10, you were diagnosed with it at 10, your daughter is diagnosed with it at 10. Still stick with you, Mom. Tell me, like, what happened, kind of the story that led up to the diagnosis at 10 years old.
Okay. When I got my menstrual cycle, I would get excruciating pain. Like, I couldn't get up from the bed. I couldn't walk. I couldn't sleep. It was just, I couldn't function at all. So it was already known because I had an aunt that already had endometriosis. So my family was aware of it. So my mom, since she knew about it, because that was her sister that had it, and we went to a bunch of gynos to check and see if I had it. And a lot of the gynos that we went to, they didn't even know what endometriosis was.
Okay.
So there were some gynos that we had to explain to them what endometriosis was, because they never heard of it. And then we went to the one that was taking care of my aunt, and he knew about it because he dealt with my aunt. So that's when he did all the tests, ultrasounds, MRIs, like name it. He did it, and that's how I got diagnosed.
Okay, that's how you got. I understand that. Okay, so another question that I have behind it: your mother already knew about it, kind of knew it was coming up from the hereditary thing. Did your mother have any experience or diagnosis with the disease as well?
No, my mom. No, it's just one of her sisters. She had. I don't remember how many sisters she has. So many brothers and sisters. They're all 15 all together. Only one of them was diagnosed with endo, and she had stage 4 of endometriosis, where she was open up from top to bottom to sideways, stomach, everywhere. Like, it was bad.
Okay, so you kind of brought another question to light. You said stage 4, so there's different stages of the disease.
There's 4 stages of endometriosis. 4 is like the worst one.
Okay, yeah, like the cancers, the same type of deal.
Correct.
So like Dekalb was saying in the beginning, there's no real cure that we know about.
Right.
What about treatment wise? What treatments are available to people with endometriosis?
They start with birth controls. They do the shots. It's called Lupron. There's some new ones called oral something. I forgot the name.
Is that the Aura ring?
They do the Uva ring. Supposed to work, but I mean, most of those don't really help. And like, they give you pain medication like tramadol, ibuprofen, those type of medications. And if it depends on the stage of endometriosis that you have, some of them work, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the female. as well, her body and how it goes, really.
So, prevention-wise, it doesn't really sound like it's anything to prevent it, just the fact of it being hereditary and everything else. So it kind of either it's going to come and get you, hit you, or it's not, right?
Yeah.
I know I asked about treatment and they give you the pain pills. What do you think makes it just any little bit better? What helps
The
at
surgeries.
all? Okay.
Like when they go in and take out where the endo is at. I mean, sometimes, like, once they take it out, it's like the root. And once they take it out, it comes back with a vengeance, where it's like it starts growing even more because it's like you pissed it off, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I've had 17 surgeries
17?
due to endo. Yes.
Wow. That is 17 too many for that. So, we were talking about cure-wise. Are there any roads or paths that are going towards a cure? Like, are there any research, any studies, anything that we should know or don't know, or anything going towards that?
They've been doing a research now, and since a lot of females are coming out with the endo, so some people are talking about it and the symptoms, and like certain doctors don't know like all the symptoms, but because they don't have to go through, but us as females that have endo, we know like there's other new symptoms, like can you give me some of them? Just like our organs get stuck together and it's very dangerous. We bleed through the insides, where it's been very dangerous. A lot of females have died from complications due to endo.
That was my next question. Okay.
Yes. And some of them have died, but because of suicide, because the pain is
so bad. Yeah.
And like even when you go to the ER, it's like they don't understand, and they don't they just brush it off like, oh, you just want to get pain medications
meds,
and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to deal with that, but if you have support and friends, family that support you, that helps.
Okay.
It really does.
That's what I was looking for. I was kind of fishing for the support answer, because that'll bring, before we get to Dekalb, one more time with the name.
Xianili.
Xianili?
Xianili.
I'm going to try. My name is Severin. And I get mad when people call me Severance.
One thing that everybody at this table, we all got unique names that people screw up time and time again. So I'm trying my hardest. So how old are you right now?
I am 14.
14, okay. So 4 years with the diagnosis. From a young person's standpoint, can you kind of give me what you feel, what you think, just anything that you can?
Well, I don't have much to add. I don't know. It's I feel I don't know.
It's okay.
It's okay. Well, how about this? Seeing your mother go through kind of what she has gone through, and then I remember me and Dekalb worked together around the same time everything was going on with you. He was distraught and telling me about not everything, not like disclosing the whole family secrets, but he just was like, hey, I got some stuff going on at home. It's not what's up. It's not, it's just I gotta do a little bit more.
When I first got to 96, Kathy had her 16th surgery.
Yep.
And then shortly after, she had got diagnosed. So.
Yep, that's what I remember. So, you said, so pain-wise, and like I said, seeing your mother go through, I'm sure you're part of that support system as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me, support-wise, what you do for your mother. How about that?
Well, I try my best to help around the house and stuff. So she's very hardworking and overdoes herself a lot. So I try my best to help her out as much as I can so she can get rest.
Okay, there you go. See, that's what's up. That's a whole bunch to add, because your mother says she needs the support and you're providing the support, and so that's what's up. That's what I like to hear. So now, how about grades in school? How you doing in school?
It doesn't affect my grades that much, but I do miss like a lot of school days. So I have like a lot of work to like catch up on.
Okay. So it just makes you have to be smarter.
Yeah.
I'm with that. That's good. You know, you got to take those lemons, turn them into lemonade. Just got to do the work a little bit quicker. So that sounds like you handling it and yourself very well so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine, I guess.
Okay. Well, like I said, it looks like you have a great example to look to kind of help you out with everything. So thank you. I'm sure your mother says thank you to you all the time, but I'm just saying thank you because it's always great to see good kids, you know. All too often we have kids that are little a-holes, and you're not. So
at all.
That's a beautiful, wonderful thing. So
that's all thanks to her mother.
So you don't got nothing to do with that?
Look, let me tell you something.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm not taking any of the credit too much because most of that stuff was etched in stone because of who her mom is. Like, her mother taught me about just having patience, period, with, you know, kids and just anything. So when it came down to certain things that I didn't understand about, you know, her or, you know, our daughter, everything that she showed me had to come into play. So whenever my daughter gets down or discouraged, I'm always using her mother as a reference point instead of me.
Right.
Because honestly speaking, me being a person that I'm not sick, I'm very healthy, thankfully. Got all my teeth. I don't have any defects other than no hair.
Now nobody's missing teeth in here, just to let y'all know. I mean, we're not on video, so everybody has their teeth, right?
Right, okay. But everybody ain't well, though. That's the thing.
No, that's the thing. That's why we're here. That's what we're talking about. So, yeah, I get you.
Everything pretty much, for me, went the way it was supposed to go. Like, from the last podcast, just me having, you know, a career-oriented father, which I followed his footsteps. I was always using him as a reference point. He was an older man, so I looked up to him. And then in this case, I'm seeing the female version of it.
Yeah, the hard working. Yeah.
Because the attachment I've always noticed my daughter has with her mother, it's huge. And nobody can beat that. I think surprisingly, she was attached to me just as much because it got to the point where I couldn't leave out of the house or anywhere without her wanting to follow behind me. When I would leave for work, she would always wear my White Sox hats around the house until I came back.
That's cool.
So even in doctor's appointments, where it'd be times where instead of her wanting her mom, she would want me to go in with her, you know. But I was just there for moral support, emotional support. But overall, when it comes to the endometriosis, I have nothing to teach because I'm a student to this as well.
Okay, well, student, tell us some of what you've learned so far and what you know, what you've experienced, and how can, like your wife said, support is huge. How do you, as a husband, support?
Basically, I do. Anytime I see an opening, I always take it. Like from the very beginning, when she first told me what it was, I noticed there, of course, was a lot of bleeding from the vaginal area, if we're going to be real.
Yeah.
Of course, in our line of work, we see that a lot, but it wasn't for the exact same reasons that we see out in the field. So I would ask her, like, hey, how often does this happen? You know, what else happens to you when you start to have what you call flare-ups? You know, she would tell me that her belly would swell a little bit, you know, giving off that appearance that she may be pregnant. She'd be out of breath just from walking from one end to the next. Just a lot of pain in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
All that and then some. But to be quite honest, for the first 2 years we dated, I mean, she had mild cases, but it didn't really start to get bad until I say maybe the second year.
Okay.
And of course, for people who don't know us, we have a lot of dogs.
Okay.
And our oldest dog, he's a handful.
Okay.
So when we were living in an apartment at the time, so when I wasn't home, she'd have to walk him. And that would be physically draining because he's a pit and he will drag her all over.
I can only imagine.
So in that case, I had to act fast. I had to stopped delaying, and I had to go buy a house.
Yeah.
I ended up buying a house. You know, that was when I moved 2 minutes away from 96 because, you know, that was the best deal I could afford at the time. But because of the fact that I needed for her to not have to overextend herself while I was gone.
Yeah, up and down stairs.
Yeah.
Apartment living a lot of times is a lot rougher than house living.
Definitely.
I mean, depending on what you do. And then the fact that having animals, you know, just contributes to that. So,
yeah,
very understandable. How you feel about the dogs?
They can be a handful, like from seeing like my mom and my stepdad deal with them. Mm-hmm. But to me, they're cute. They're nice.
They're cute. And they're nice.
I love
them. And they pits?
Some of them are.
Okay.
Not all.
They cute when they puppies, like babies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you're so cute. And then they grow up and they just bad. Like, so.
They eventually learn it. They learn the program. They start to learn how to take care of themselves as much as they can.
Okay,
you know,
right?
Other than the feeding and the bathroom part, but other than that, you know,
yeah, it's not like they're going to. Well, I was gonna say opening up doors on their own, but they do open up doors on their own.
Yeah, I showed you the video of my oldest one doing
exactly. Not for the way you want them to open up doors on their own, but
right. Well, he does actually. He won't do it unless I tell him to.
Okay,
so he does it on command. So. That's one of the biggest things that my wife's always told me, because I used to flip out every time she'd be like, she wanted another dog. I was like, dude, what in the hell?
Yeah.
But then when one day she just broke down to me that it was like therapy for her, you know, because going back to the support part, we tried having a kid, but we couldn't because of the level of the endometriosis. And it left us both feeling down in the dumps about it, but I had to put my feelings to the side because I had to make sure she was all right.
Right.
Because she's always mentioned she wanted, you know, more kids. You know, not that I didn't want kids, but it was like that. If it wasn't in the cards for me, it wasn't in the cards. But her being the person that she was, I was like, this is the person I want to have a kid with. And then now that I've decided, okay, you know, it's time. Now I can't do it. So when I understood, I put myself in her shoes as much as I could. It was like, she does really love these animals. She loves these dogs. And I'm pretty sure that's what gives her the purpose. It's like taking care of a kid like she always wanted. Because every animal, every child basically gets attached to her instantly. It's like, you know how they say dogs and kids can see who's got good and bad intentions and all that stuff? It's like they take a look at her and my daughter, they see angels' wings and a halo when they see those two.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit more. As far as the support, and we get more into support, but how you feel about the animals? How you feel about the dogs? He described it, but that's from his point of view. I want to hear from you. How do you feel?
Well, like you've mentioned before, I mean, they are therapy. Like if I'm in excruciating pain, they do help with try to distract my mind off the pain. And like, it's like they know when I'm in pain, so they always by me. They make sure, like, especially the oldest, like when she gets pains or when she's sick, he's always by her. He's not allowed to go upstairs, but he goes like halfway, but he's constantly always checking up on her, making sure she's okay or, you know, she's not in pain or anything like that. So all our dogs have been very helpful with that. What else can I say about it?
Never a dull moment.
Yeah, that's true. Like they're always doing something. Each of them have their own character. And like with the, you know, having kids, it was already hard for me to get pregnant with her. And I was high risk already. And she was born a preemie.
Okay.
She was born at 27 weeks.
Okay.
And she only weighed 2 pounds.
Oh.
So she was in a NICU for like, I want to say 2-3 months.
Yeah.
She was in a NICU.
Very, very stressful.
Yes. So, I mean, it was kind of hard. And then even before I even got pregnant with her, like, doctors were telling my parents at 16 years old that if I wanted to have kids due to my endo, it would have to be right there at 16 years old. So my parents, you know, me being 16, it's kind of young to, you know, go and try to have a kid.
Yeah.
And they had to make that hard decision. And be like, okay, well, we're gonna, allow it. But because of her situation, since they knew I've always wanted to have kids, I've always took care of everybody's kids and, did well with them. I loved being around because I also wanted to be a teacher, but due to the endo, I had to put it to the side and was not able to become a teacher. I went to college, I did all that stuff, but every surgery that I've had, it always was felt like through my finals. And, no college is going to accept that. And all the absence, even with her situation right now, with always being absent. But, thank God. And luckily, her school understands. And I take the papers, doctors, all that stuff. So, luckily, they understand her situation and they accept it. And she has a 504 and everything at school. So that helps a lot as well.
Okay. Well, I'm glad the animals help out a lot. I'm glad your family is helping out a ton. That's a beautiful thing to hear. That's part of the reason to having family. And then us with this job, we have an extended family that help us out that much more for certain things. So, like I said, that's a beautiful thing to hear. As far as you've had 17 surgeries, and like I said, that's 17 way too many. And it doesn't seem like anything that you would be able to get used to, but is there any part of it that is familiar when it's time for a surgery?
Yeah, I usually know already. I've studied my body so well where I would tell him, I know the doctors are going to tell me this. And he's like, how do you know? I was like, I've been through this so many times. So it's I know when I have a cyst. I know when I have fibroids. I know when the endo is back and my organs are stuck together. I know all that stuff because I feel it all the time. And, the pain gets worse and worse every time. So every time I get surgery, it's the endo. And then that's another thing. The endo grows elsewhere, in my kidneys, heart, brain, lungs, name it. Every part of your organ, endo could grow in.
Really?
Yeah, and it makes it harder, especially fatigue is the main reason, because endo is in the lungs.
Lungs, yeah, because especially if it's taking away some of that spongy lung area, I can see being difficult to breathe.
Yeah.
I asked this before, but I want to kind of ask it in a different way. Prevention wise, I know you say it's nothing really you can do, but is there anything that you've noticed that you may do or somebody does do that causes a flare up? A lot of times when you input stuff into your body, then it comes out a certain way. I know with people that got gluten allergies, they can't eat flour and stuff like that.
Dairy, it's basically your diet. With endo, you have to eat a little healthier because that helps not to flare up, especially with the endo belly because we get real swollen where everything we eat, if it flares it up, we get bloated really bad to where we look 5-6 months pregnant.
Yeah, like you were saying. Okay.
Right. So, it depends. It's your eating habits and the exercises as well because due to endo, I try to go work out with him many times, but, sometimes the next day I'll be in pain where I can't walk, I can't move, I can't do stuff, or I'm in excruciating pain, and he'd be like, no, and I'm like, no, I want to keep going, going. I don't want this, I don't want endo to stop me from doing exercise and be healthy. Yeah. But sometimes it does. Even when I eat healthy, sometimes it causes me pain as well. So it's okay, this is crazy. What else can I do to help my situation?
Yeah, that's important too, because cancer, say for instance, and then sometimes it just hits people out of people get lung cancer, never been around nothing, that got never smoked a cigarette, a cigar, never even been around smoking, get lung cancer. So it's just, and that can be hereditary as well. I have some family members that are going through some issues with cancer treatments right now. So I totally understand, and it just stinks. I can't think of any word worse. So speaking of that, I saw Dekalb got this new tattoo So, well, without the bad word, can you tell me, describe your tattoo for me?
All right, so basically, I have my knuckles. I tatted F-U-C-K, endo, on my knuckles.
Yeah.
Simply because of the fact that that phrase alone is how I feel every day when I wake up. You know, from when she wakes up, it's hard for her to move. She's in a lot of pain, can't get any sleep. You know, before she had her last surgery, she used to bleed heavily. I used to have to help take her to the bathroom every other night. It was so bad to the point where I was losing sleep to take care of her. And God forbid, my daughter ended up having any of her symptoms, and my wife couldn't do anything
for her. Yeah,
so
you're there to pick up.
And my wife, being who she is, like, you know, my daughter says, she's very hardworking. You know, so I'd have to snap out of whatever I was in and tell her, look, you lay down, I'll go deal with her. You know, and then the very day my daughter got diagnosed with endo, and she got her first flare up, like painful flare up in her belly. My wife, for the first time, I saw her lose her composure. And I had to tell her, hey, no, go to the other side of the room. You're scaring her. You know, you're scaring the kid. So I had to be the one that kind of, you know, hugged her and, you know, told her, hey, mama's going to be all right. You're going to be all right. Just, you know, we're going to try to see what we can do to get this fixed. And the whole time I'm thinking, you know, like any father, you know how you got a daughter. Yeah. So let's say if anyone or anything hurts your daughter, in particular, not to say your son's not important, but father-daughter relationships is huge.
Yep.
So if anything or anyone hurts your daughter,
you want to go hurt it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's pretty much how I felt. And I can't do that because this is something that even doctors don't have control over.
Right.
So I felt so helpless just watching them go where they're going. And it was just, you know, all this was because of endometriosis.
Yeah.
So that term F-endo was how I felt. I was like, you know what, I'm going to get this tattooed on my knuckles. I hadn't gotten, my last tattoo I hadn't got since 2013.
Okay.
And then I just got this one because.
Nice long break.
Yeah. And then, but I felt like I needed to do it just to continuously find ways to show my support. And it was crazy because my daughter's reaction to it was a lot more, she was a lot more reactive to it than I thought she'd be.
Okay. So, can you tell me what your reaction was to his tattoo?
Oh, well, it was very nice. I was very, like, surprised by it.
So happy surprise, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I saw when he posted it. I'm like, and I, like I said, knew about the endo, but I didn't know the extent to what the disease involves or entails. So I get it. I'm with it. It's so the ribbon. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Is there a color behind this? Because I see y'all all got on yellow today.
That's the color.
Okay, so we're going to put some pictures up of the yellow. Y'all got on yellow kicks. And like I said, you got out the car. I saw a 4 on your back. I thought you had your new company on your back. But
no.
It's just
Kobe.
Black and yellow. It's just Kobe. It's all good. I'm with that.
It's Kobe.
You got the yellow hat. Now, your shirt, what's your shirt say? Okay, Endo Warrior. Living with an invisible illness. Okay,
Mine.
Oh, you got. Oh, you got to take that one off.
And then show yours, boo.
Pause for the cure. Tell me about Pause for the Cure. Is that like they bring you cats instead of dogs? Just try and have something else to take care of.
No, it was just a shirt design.
Okay.
She just loves animals and it's
like
a cute
cats.
little kitten. So
okay, I'm with that. I'm all the way with that.
And of course,
and yours,
mine says
would not
endometriosis.
recommend.
1 star, would not recommend.
Yeah, we gonna take pictures of all that and put them up. Because like you said, it's something that kind of needs to get done. So speaking of that and speaking to that, is there like a not fund, but is there a place or a organization or anything that has like donations and awareness for endometriosis? Came prepared. I'm with that.
It's called Endometriosis Association.
Okay.
Like, people could donate there. And, like, there's different groups on Facebook of endometriosis and, like, support groups as well. And a lot of, people could look it up and they'll see, like, a lot of the females' stories with endo, that lives with endo.
Right. That's exactly what I was looking for. Let me give out this website. They're based in Milwaukee, but website is www.endometriosisassociation.org. That's ENDOMETRIOSISASSN.org. That's how you can get in contact with them. They have different ways that you can donate. You can get a free book or DVD. Dues are $100, which is nothing when it comes to trying to find something for this autoimmune disease. 1 year dues, 2 years, 3, 5. You can be an associate. You can just give money just to give money, and I'm sure that you can find all of that on the website. This, and then it's a nice long pamphlet. I'm glad I asked the right questions for you to bring this out, because I always kind of mess with my guests. I say, I really am into doing homework. So, like, we'll talk about a subject, then I'll go try and learn as much as I can about it. You brought the homework to me, so now I don't have to do as much. But that website, again, www.endometriosisassn.org. They also have on here, so you can email endo at the same thing, endometriosisassociation.org, Facebook /ENDOASSN, and we gave the website, have a phone number on here. Like I said, this particular pamphlet is based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So we will put up all the information, about everything you can do to support, because it just seems like something that needs some more support behind, because I consider myself well versed in medical things, and this is a disease that I didn't know about until meeting you in the first place to even know about. So it feels like it needs to get talked about a bit more.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was wild because about a year or so ago, we had responded to a call, and it was, we thought it was a routine abdominal distress, but then the lady, the way she was describing her symptoms, and I looked at her and I said, "You wouldn't happen to have endometriosis, would you?" She looked at me. "You know what that is?" I said, "Yep, my wife's got it. So is my daughter."
Yeah.
And then, like, she let out, like, this big old sigh of relief, like, finally somebody understands. And I was like, oh, yeah, I definitely do get it. I definitely understand.
Yeah, that's
not as much as I would like, but.
No, I mean, nobody, wants to, but those times where you can use your sympathy and empathy to help a patient feel that much better, that's really makes a person's day. Another autoimmune disease that kind of sounds similar to is sickle cell, like with the pain and everything, and just kind of there's nothing we can do. We go to the hospital.
We are also diagnosed with sickle cell.
So you
have
also
to deal with that.
You also have sickle cell as well. See, I didn't even know that either. So just me.
That's another painful illness that's horrible to live with.
Me running my mouth got some good stuff to come out of it. So we'll put up information about that as well on the website once I get it going and have it all in order. So I've asked pretty much all that I can think. Are there any questions that you think I should ask, or something I should know that I haven't asked about?
Well, pretty much. I said she talked on behalf of, the women, and then, my daughter spoke on behalf of the kids. I just want to address for any husbands out there whose wife may have signs and symptoms of this, and whose wife may be going through this. I need I need the husbands to understand this is a very difficult disease for a woman to ever have to go through.
Right.
I know a lot of times it actually takes away the sex drive as well. You know, a lot of marriages get destroyed because women may not be able to do certain things for her husband because of her endo.
Right.
You know, there's also going to be times where, you might have to get out of work just to rush her to the hospital.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I'm in a position where I'm literally right around the corner from where I live right around the corner from where I work. And if something was to happen, I'm actually probably the responding truck that can go there.
Yeah.
So even when I'm not home, I'm still home.
Yep.
And then also just one of the hardest things to remember is that sometimes when you see them with, let's say, certain looks on their faces, you know, it may not be you. It may just they wake up with that.
With the pain.
Yes. You know, it's been
not feeling right.
Yeah.
Especially after the surgeries and everything. Sounds like this woman knows her body better than anything. So that's it's a good thing at the same time. I mean, it's not good that it's happening to you, but the fact that you know what's going on is always a plus. You know what? I thought of a question when he was talking. He's describing what I think he's doing a great job describing what husbands should do. But what would you say that husbands, mates, anybody that you're in any type of relationship, your family, what is something your family or anybody could do to help support you more?
Understand the disease, the symptoms and stuff, so they're able to help. Like,
what would help look like to you? What's help?
Understanding what endometriosis is, because like I've mentioned, a lot of people don't know what endometriosis is, so they don't understand. They think either it's in our heads or I don't know, like we're making it up or faking it, or you know,
not as big of a deal as you make it out to be.
Right, it's not a huge deal.
I can't see that at all.
Right.
Okay, so like I said, it sounds like the CAP does that excellently.
Oh, yes.
The pups do that because they're so empathetic. They get right up under you and try and support you. I grew up with dogs, so I know how dogs act. They really have a great sense to them. I think we were talking about dogs on another podcast. We said we don't deserve dogs. So
right.
It's true. Like the fact that my oldest one, who's been around us for the longest, obviously, knows he's not, like my wife said, he's not allowed upstairs.
Yeah, but still going to check. Like, I know something's not right.
Like, if my daughter's sick, he'll go halfway to the middle landing and just lay there until she comes down. If my wife is sick, he lays at the bottom of the stairs and waits for her to come down. And just they behave better. Yeah, they behave better when they know she's not feeling well. Just
say, let's take it easy on mom. Let's laugh.
Yeah, right. They really like these fools really do talk to each other. I believe it,
let's take it easy.
Because it was just funny. One day we have cameras in the rooms with the dogs, and one day we were like checking on them. And Kathy clicks on the camera. And when she clicks on the camera, what do we see? The biggest dog we got staring right into the camera like he knows that we're watching
looking
him.
At him.
Right.
Say, let me put on this show for you real quick.
Sometimes we'll mess with them. We'll like do the little voice chat and we'll be like, Kane, Katana, what are y'all doing? And they'll look like, and I'll be like, yeah, that's right, I'm talking to you. And then they look to the stairs to see me if I'm coming down.
I have these dogs thinking they psychotic. They're going to be thinking they got voices.
No, let me tell you what they do. When they hear that, they're like, he ain't in here, so we ain't listening. You just come over the mic, sit. Like, but they know if they don't and I come down the stairs, then, okay, it was him. So
They got them super noses, too.
Oh,
we used to have that program, the cancer dog thing, and just the guy trained the dogs to kind of sniff
I remember that.
into the bag. And I don't know how accurate, but I've signed up for it a few times just because, hey, why not try and find out? But it sounds like the same thing. They can sense and possibly smell what's going on. Dogs are Awesome. So.
Oh yeah, especially when trained and loved correctly.
Trained and loved correctly. Got it. So, with that being said, I'll let you guys get out of here. I really thank you for coming and talking about the subject. Again, is it anything that I missed?
Is there anything you want to say?
Anything you want to say?
I kind of want to add something for like
sure.
Any like teens out there that may be watching. I want to say that self-care is very important. Like, take care of yourself. Know your limits, know your boundaries, know what you can and can't do during this. What else?
Menstrual cycle, if it's not painful, if you get a lot of pain, like, go check yourself.
Say something.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what's so awesome and beautiful about what you just said? That goes for regular. That's great advice for just a regular situation. You should know your boundaries, know your limits, know yourself, get to know yourself, especially at the age you're at. And the fact that you know that and can vocalize that, I'm really impressed by you. So
14 years old, she's learned a lot, man. Yeah. This kid's really impressed me because this disease set her up to fail. It really did. Yeah. I've seen how normal kids don't have these issues per se. Yeah. And they act like they can't get through a day without doing, certain things. I'm not going to say what, but, with her, it's like she puts up with the pain. She deals with it just like her mother does. She pushes through. When I'm not at home, when I'm at work, I always tell her, hey, kid, I need you to look after your mom for me, while I'm gone. And she does that, and she's come a long way because I remember before, like, she would not know what to do. She used to panic, but now we talk to her every day. And that's another thing, parents, talk to your kids. Yes. Talk to your kids. They know more than you think. And be that leading example because her mother did that for her very well. And then that's how she turned out. She's a very caring person, pays attention, knows her body, knows her limitations. And for any other families who will be dealing with this, you're going to have doctors that are going to make you feel like you're crazy and you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. And if you're not satisfied with what they tell you, go find a second and third or fourth opinion. Because I'm going to just put this out there. Took my daughter to her first gynecologist and she was not comfortable with her at all. Yeah. And the crazy part about it is, and this just is fun with some of these doctors out here. Some people, this ain't their first rodeo. This is definitely not ours. Yeah. This lady thought that this was our first rodeo because everything she told us we had an answer for. And to the point where it looked like she was getting frustrated because she didn't know what to say. Yeah. And it was like my wife looked at me for the first time like, oh, my God, he's been paying attention because I kind of raised up and I said, hey, just so you know, X, Y, Z. And because usually I let her do all the talking. Right. Because I'm in the learning phase. Yeah. And I feel like one day I felt like such an a-hole because I was working a 48-hour shift. And I come home, take her to a doctor's appointment. I'm tired. I'm beat up. And I fall asleep in the doctor's office while the doctor was talking. And I felt so horrible because I didn't even realize I fell asleep. Yeah, that's when it's really bad. When you don't even know you did it. Sometimes you kind of cheating. Like, let me close my eyes for a minute. But when you don't even know and it's just like, oh, yeah, where'd that time go? She thought I was being negligent, but I had to explain to her, like, look, I worked a double at a very busy firehouse. And then I come home to her getting more no sleep. Yeah. But back to the doctor, it's like, yeah, this ain't our first rodeo. If you're telling us that's normal, and you don't believe that, don't do that. Yeah. Stop. Yeah. Because making people feel bad about something that they know they feel every single day, that also could raise the suicide rate. Yeah. Because you already expect it from family members. They don't know. Right. But doctors, it's like you have it, just like firemen, you have a duty to try to make the situation better, even if it's just with words. I'm not sitting inside anybody's body or knowing what they have going on. So, I have to take what you say as what it is. And, the only time, I was going to say the only time we know a patient ain't doing what they're supposed to do is the old hand drop test. But we won't even talk about what that is. Right, right. If you know what that is, then you know what that is. Well, you know, right.
Okay. Well, like I said, again, we're going to put up everything on our website where you can donate, where you can find out more information. Maybe this has affected someone in your life and you don't even know that it's going on in their life. It's always great to be able to do homework and do some research of your own. And when we say research, well, not we. When I say research of your own, I'm not talking about going and Googling and searching for what you want to see and having cognitive dissonant conversations with yourself, just looking for something that's going to tell you the sky is green just because you think it's green. I mean, really do research from multiple sources and get some information. That's kind of the best way to go about that. So, Dekalb.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna try it one more time. Say it for me first.
Xianili.
Xianili.
There it is.
Okay. And I'm going to just call you Kathy because that's what he did.
That's
okay. All right. Well, thanks for coming again. And until the next time we pop up, thanks for listening. Bye. Hello, everyone out there in podcast land. This is your host, Severin Henderson, back again for the new year, 2022, with another episode of Department 3C Presents a Podcast Connected to Fire. Today, I have the opportunity to speak with the Black Fire Brigade. This is one of the podcasts I've been trying to get for a while, and actually, the last time I was tutoring, the principal came up to me and said, "Can we be on your podcast?" I said, "I've been wanting that forever." Like, what do you mean? We can do it right now. I was about to go get my bag out the car and set up studio in the firehouse and everything. She said, "No, we'll come through. I'll bring some students. We'll make it real good." The only person we're missing is Lieutenant Quentin Curtis. He had a family emergency that he had to tend to. He's been a busy man all around. We've had some funerals going on, 3 to be exact. Just having to be everywhere all the time. It's just been a hectic time for the CFD as a whole, for him as a person, for the Black Fire Brigade as an assist. Just like I said, everybody's had a rough time to start the year so far. But we're going to get this year on track. We're going to get it going. We're going to think positive. We're going to have everything going in the right direction because that's what we all about, optimism. So without me talking that much longer, I'm going to introduce the principal, and then we have 2 students here from the Black Fire Brigade. So Terry, Miss Winston, can you please introduce yourself?
Good morning. My name is Terry Winston, and I am a principal at the Black Fire Brigade. Black Fire Brigade is an organization that was started by Lieutenant Curtis June 2018 with the mission of preparing young black men and women to enter the EMS service. Lieutenant Curtis has 34 years on the fire department with anticipation of retiring this year. And his goal and objective was to leave a legacy of 500 young men and women on the field behind him, carrying on his legacy. So he goes out into the community. He recruits black men and women ages 18 to 40, and he's prepared them for the fire department. And the first step is becoming an EMT, emergency medical technician. It's either a 13-week or 4-month program. He recruits them, he prepares them, he pays their tuition, he mentors them, as well as tutoring every Sunday. He believes in if they can see representation, they can be representation. And being able to get black firefighters, females, and black firemen in the vision of these young men and women, they will be our future. And we're excited. We put over 420 children through the program. Not children, young men and women. They're children to us. 420 young men and women through the program. And they continue their mission and go on to the fire academy as well as paramedic school. And this is just a huge accomplishment for us. It's the only program in the country, and we're really excited just to be here with you today to talk about the program.
Well, thank you. Like I said, I've been wanting this to happen for a long, long time. I don't even remember when I started this podcast, but I know when I did, this was one of the first group of people that I wanted to come on here was the Black Fire Brigade. And now not only do I have just the Black Fire Brigade, but we have students that graduated and have gone on to do great things in the career. So without any further ado from that angle as well, I would like to introduce Javar Murphy, a graduate of the Black Fire Brigade. Javar, I told him your name, but introduce yourself and let us know a bit more about you.
My name is, like I said, Javar Murphy. I'm a graduate from the Black Fire Brigade. I'm a national paramedic. I recently passed the NREMT.
Congratulations.
Most gracious. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. I also, prior to that, I received my EMT license as well. And now I'm trying to get into the, like Terry mentioned, I'm trying to get into the fire department.
Okay, cool. So tell me a little bit more. Let's deep dive a bit more into you. Before you came across the Black Fire Brigade, what were you doing? What were you up to? All of that fun stuff.
Before I stumbled across the Black Fire Brigade, I wasn't doing much of anything. I was working to survive.
Okay.
And I was going through various things in my life to a point where I actually fell into homelessness. So from that period of time, I actually that was kind of the turning point where I decided to get my EMT license. So I kind of went through that program of ascertaining my EMT license while I was actually sleeping in my car. So,
okay, now that is just phenomenal. That's awesome. I remember Q was talking about that the other day when I was at the brigade, and he was pitching that to the students, just telling them, just not a whole lot, but just saying, we had a student go from homeless to now he's doing things. I didn't know it was you. And I teased you when you came in here because you flying fresh to death. We got to take this picture. I'm definitely going to put this picture up. You look like a GQ model, like for real, for real. But
I want to intercept.
Okay, go ahead.
Because when we were there that Sunday and Q mentioned the young man, he told everyone else he has high expectations for you. You have no excuse. If this young man went through the EMT program, Fire Academy program, paramedic program, not the entire program homeless, but he fought
any
to make
part of
this
it
happen.
Yeah.
And he has those 3 levels of certification. He expects nothing more than you to get your national exam.
Yeah, that's 1,000% true. It's no excuse when you have someone, especially their own age, to look at and say, "Hey, this dude had it worse off than what I may have going on." And even if you do have it worse, we have solutions for that too. We have. I say we because I tutor and help out, but we have so many options and opportunities to help these young people that they don't even know about. And all too often, people it's not that they're scared to ask; they don't even know what questions to ask. So it all just starts with a conversation, and once we get to talking, once we get to figuring things out, we can go from there. Javar, so like I said, fly fresh to death. Now I see why, because you got to stay like that to stick off your mind thinking about the homelessness thing. So just tell me a little bit more about that struggle, because that is like a real deal situation as far as, saying I'm in a car to I'm about to do something and get it going.
Really, it was kind of like when people speak about crossroads. I had been working previously, going from job to job. I've held some pretty prestigious jobs. I was an assistant branch manager at one point for Armored Trucking Company. So I wasn't unaccustomed to working hard. That wasn't something that was new to me. But doing something that I enjoyed doing, that I had a passion for doing, that was new. So it was really just a crossroad and a decision to go ahead and try to fulfill that. At this point, to me it was either now or never.
Right.
So at that point, I literally had nothing else to lose. So now was a good time to go ahead and try to do that.
Okay.
As far as the difficulty, as you can imagine, there was more days that was difficult than others. Probably thought about quitting all the way up until graduation day. Like I said, it was really just a crossroad. It was an understanding that consistency beats out a lot of things, particularly failure. If you just continue and strive and be consistent at something, more than likely you'll achieve it.
Right.
So that was pretty much my thought process behind it. Was just take it one day at a time, try to learn as much as I can, try to focus as best as I can, and just pick up the information that was easy for me. Try to do that a little bit faster, and then things that were a struggle was just consistently just putting it in my mind frame. I had all day to think about it. So after class, so that part wasn't too much tough of a decision. So it was just pretty much like I said, just a consistency in the want and the will.
Okay, I like it. I'm with that.
Severin, I have something to say about Gerard.
Sure.
So he went through the MT program. He jumped into the paramedic program.
Yep.
Okay. He completed the paramedic program. And out of nowhere, he signed up for the fire academy program.
Yep.
And I'm like, dude, you didn't take the paramedic exam. Like, what are you doing? You're going to forget all of that information. And I personally know that exam is hard.
Yes.
He said, I got this. It's like, you got this? You need to go back and take that exam. You're going to forget everything you learned. But he said, no, we got this. So he went through the fire academy. Now I'm looking at him like, we went to the graduation. What about that paramedic license? Mm-hmm. That's what I want you to have, because we know that starting rate for a paramedic is $72,000 a year. He said, I got this. Do you know he turned around less than 2 to 3 weeks after he completed the fire academy, went back and he passed the national exam for the paramedic program on the first try?
Oh my, yeah. Like you said, I know for a fact that test is no joke and that is hard.
It's hard. So, that's just an attestament to who he is when he decided that he wanted something. And then the role models that we have, you, Lieutenant Curtis, Chief Williams, and then the other BFB students, we can achieve anything if we come together collectively.
Yep.
My hat's off to you, sir.
Yep, absolutely. That's what we always tell the students. We say you have examples. You have people that you can talk to. And I equate learning, especially EMT, to learning a new language. It's like you really got to sit down and learn a new language. Paramedic, I know from experience that test, I didn't pass it the first try. I had hoops and hurdles to go through to get my paramedic license, and now that I got it, I don't want to let it go at all. And I encourage you to do the same. So we're gonna come back around, talk about some more happy stuff, but I do want to introduce our third guest, our second student that we brought here. Jabray Carter, got it right. Yes. Is another graduate of the Black Fire Brigade program, and Jabray is going to tell you a bit more about himself other than just he's a graduate. So, Jabray, nice to meet you. Happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me on. I want to start off by saying everything that I just learned about Jabray, I didn't know. That's very impressive. I got to networking with him a little bit more because I'm following those same steps. I want to start off by saying I'm 23 years old. I'm an EMTB, currently in paramedic school, and I work in the emergency room at UI Health. I started with the Black Fire Brigade back in 2019. I actually went to the first responders course by myself at Malcolm X College, where I had met some of the Black Fire Brigade students there, specifically this guy named Nico Riley. He was telling me a little bit about the Black Fire Brigade, and then he introduced me to Q. And at first I thought it was just like a mentor program, and I'm like, I don't really, need another mentor.
I ain't for this.
Yeah, and I thought they may have been like charging, and at that time I couldn't afford anything. But then when he's deeply explained it to me, like, it's not just a mentor program, it's like a second family. You don't got to pay for nothing, just come to one tutoring session. And then that's when I went to the tutoring session, and then met Terry, and then they got me with the Lifeline Ambulance Academy for free. And then ever since then, it's just been up. Now I'm in a Malcolm X paramedic program because of Terry. And I honestly could say I didn't have to come out of my pocket $1 to do anything that I do with the Black Fire Brigade. And all they do is just ask us to like return a favor to the next upcoming students. So that's what I've been doing, like mentoring the other EMT students and stuff like that.
Yeah, all that I am. Just remember that. You keep that up. You keep going with that. For myself, that was the first speech I heard when I walked into my first volunteer part-time fire department. My chief, I talk about him very fondly, and I talk about him a lot. Chief Lloyd Knowles, he did the exact same thing for me. I got to go to EMT school for free. He just sent me. I came up there, I hung out, sent me to EMT school. Paramedic school was on me. But little did I know, I earned a scholarship from high school. So when I went to sign up, they said, "Oh, you got some free money here." I said, "What?" And got in paramedic school with that. So all too often in the fire department, we say, if it's free, it's for me. And that's just because we want extra stuff. But with this situation with you guys, you didn't just say, if it's free, it's for me. If it's free, I'm going to take this and do something with it. Because that's the part that I love and appreciate, is that you didn't just take a free opportunity and blow it and waste it and say, "Oh, it's whatever. They gave it to me. I'll see you later." You actually put in time and work. And you kind of skipped ahead what I was going to ask you too, because you're in paramedic school. He finished paramedic school. I was going to ask, Javar, did you have any advice for our other comrade here? I can't say the names close together like that. I get it.
My biggest advice would just be don't get down on yourself, and don't allow yourself to quit. Learning all of this information, especially coming if you're not used to being around that information. Some people are first generation or second generation. In various fields of medicine, so they might have been exposed to that type of the terminologies and things of that nature. But if this is truly new for you, don't get down on yourself if it's tough to get it. It's difficult. It's all difficult information to me. Like I was just saying, it's just about consistency and finding what works for you. Fortunately for me, I've been through a little bit of schooling and just different periods of trying to gain information. So I kind of know what works for me in terms of retaining the information. I'm real big on books, on words. I can read a book. I can and extrapolate a lot of the information out of it. Just simply from reading it. But there's other parts in it that I needed visuals. YouTube was a big help for me. Anything I would type in anything that I didn't know and then put dummy at the end of it for Google. That's how serious it was for me. Because at the point I didn't care that other people understood the information. I didn't care when, the instructor was like, everybody understands that, and nobody would say anything. And then I'd just look around and be like, I don't understand. Mm-hmm. I'm that guy, and everybody be looking around at me. There might have been something simple, but for me, it was going over my head. And I would ask the question to the point where she would just say, "Well, just come to me after class." All right.
Yeah. Believe me, somebody else had them questions too. It's just all too often people don't want to be the person to ask.
Absolutely.
Severin, before we get too far off track,
Okay.
I would like Mr. Duray to tell you why he's so passionate about becoming a first responder, because he has a personal story that made national news.
Oh, you got a story? Yeah, hit us with it.
So back in 2019, while I was in EMT school, I had a little experience as being a first responder. So I thought, of course, my family think, medical person. So my grandfather unfortunately passed away with CFD. The building manager had called for a person for unknown cause of a man down. They get there, the paramedics enter the room. One paramedic entered the room. They was in there less than 1 minute. They said they assessed him. They said they found him face down in the pool of blood, and they said he has been dead. They pronounced him dead. They called my family. I went there maybe like 3 or 4 hours later. I went to see him one more time before like the funeral home got there. When I walked in the apartment, me and my friend, we went in there. My grandfather wasn't dead. He was moaning and groaning. He was reaching for us. And I told him, because it was me and one of my friends was in the room at that time, and I had told her, like, check for a pulse. We both first responders. We might have to do CPR or something like that. So I told her to check for a carotid pulse. She checked for a pulse. He said he's still alive. And at that time, I'm looking from the door. I'm kind of scared. And he reaching for her, grabbing for her. And she was crying. She just keeps saying, call 911, call 911. So I call 911. I'm arguing with the dispatcher. He keep asking me for like a police report number, and I'm just like, dude, get somebody here.
Yeah.
My grandfather's not dead.
Yeah. And
that's when the police took over. The police dispatcher took over and said, we sending help. We need that police report number. Gave them the police report number. The ambulance came. I remember the fire truck pulled up first in the ambulance. I told them what was going on. Met them downstairs. I'm like, look, I'm an EMT student. My grandfather's not dead. They pronounced him dead earlier. And then they was like, yeah, okay, we'll go check it out. They didn't take a bag up. They didn't take a stretch up, nothing. So they got up there. They checked him, flipped him on his back, seen that he was still alive. They had sent another couple guys downstairs to get the monitor and a stretcher and everything, hooked him up to the monitor. He very much well had a rhythm on the monitor. They put him on a stretcher, put him on an hour breathing, got him into the back of the ambulance. Then they took him to the hospital. 2 days later, he was on life support, and we pulled the plug because we didn't want to keep suffering. The doctor said that maybe if he would have got there a little earlier, he could have survived. So that's what persuaded me more to become a paramedic and a first responder for the city of Chicago, so that won't happen to nobody else.
That is real. I shouldn't be at a loss for words in a podcast, but I just have, I don't know what to say. First of all, I'm really so sorry to hear that happened to you. I do remember that case. And again, I didn't know that was you that happened to. Just like our other situation, our other story. But like I said, first of all, I'm so sorry that happened to you. That is terrible. That's heart-wrenching. That's heartbreaking. Just all the words used to describe that situation. Because, sometimes people don't expect someone to actually, when they know what they're talking about, come in and say, hey, I don't think this is quite right. People, they try and get one past you or slip one past, and I don't know who did that. I don't want to know for the sake of this podcast or for the sake of myself, but that's not cool. That's not what's up. And on behalf of CFD, I can say for a fact that the majority of members aren't that way. Especially our paramedics, they really, really care about people, and they go above and beyond in a lot of situations. They get destroyed out there on the streets, and they don't. That's not really them. So that was an anomaly of a situation, and I apologize for that happening to you.
Thank you.
But I'm excited that he's in the program.
Well, that's what I was just about to say.
He's making a difference. He's reaching back, helping other EMTs, making sure study sessions that they're on point.
Right. Well, that's why I said I know you guys, but I don't like know you guys because they are up there. They still come back when they got the time to kind of help and talk to the new students. I was going to call them kids too. I still call them kids. But they talk to the students. They teach them. They help them along. They really are giving back. And the fact that you want to get on CFD so that won't never happen to nobody, I love that. That's amazing. That's the kind of people we need in this service all the way around. And not just the fire service or the paramedic service, but in the police service as well. So I'd like to cover all three realms of first response, police department, fire department, paramedic, just because I've had experience and done all three. And the thing, like I said, that's an anomaly of a situation, especially for the people we have work here. I know with other jobs, I don't want to bomb on anybody, but that's more likely to happen. But with those people, that really that's a rarity. So, and the giving back portion is what's up. You have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I didn't know that about you, Jabray, and that's very that's inspiring. And I think it's a commonality that a lot of people like us share. A lot of Black people, unfortunately, we share a certain trauma, and out of that trauma, we always try to grab hold of something where we can control it a little bit better for the next time. And as you were speaking about policing and fire and medics, I think there's a majority of young people out there that would like to do those type of things. They just don't. They're not necessarily aware of the avenues or the process of getting there. So they, unfortunately, you see them turn to things that aren't necessarily conducive or it might even be illegal, but they seem to try to take hold of or control what the trauma that they've experienced. They try to take it into their own hands. So I think I really enjoy this program and the organization Black Fire Brigade because it gives them an opportunity to take some type of control in their own hands in a more positive manner.
Now, I appreciate you saying that. The thing that first popped to my mind was you said as minorities is what ends up happening. For our entire existence in this country, we've been taking lemons and turning them into lemonade. Like just anything that we have and anything we're able to use, we make something of it. I was talking to a good friend of mine. He was talking about where inoculation for smallpox came from, and it came from the slaves taking just a small amount of smallpox from somebody else that got sick and pus, put it under their skin. You know that from medical school, what that's called. That's another way we administer some of the drugs that we administer, and that would inoculate the person and they went on to save like a lot of people. It just was talking about how the fact that we have the shot and corona stuff going on now, and it just kind of parallels to that. But that was Black people that figured that out, and that was minorities that figured that out. And like I said, took this crap and turned it into a nice situation. They just turned it into something better. So,
and then I want to say something what Gerard just said with Lieutenant Q. I love the brotherhood and sisterhood that you all have on the Chicago Fire Department, that he was able to come to you all and say, hey, we have this opportunity. Let's become role models and mentors to young men and women in the streets of Chicago. If we teach them to save a life, they'll be less likely to take a life.
Are you like jumping in my head? Because I literally wrote that down to talk to you right now. That was where I was going to.
Okay, so they're less likely. So right now we see a lot of violence on the streets of Chicago. You're going to see a new direction that Q is going to take when he's mentoring this program. He is so inspired by the young men and women that come and sit down in the classroom to become mentees and learn this program. Because when he see you all in action, when he see your leadership, Javar is the very first one to pass the paramedic exam. That's impressive.
That is.
That we had somebody start from EMT to Fire Academy now. He's a paramedic, all 3 levels of certification, ready to become a future firefighter, paramedic on the Chicago Fire Department. When we look at Javray Downer, he takes on the leadership. He comes to the firehouse. We had 4 engagements this week. We had funerals that we had to attend. One of our former BFB students passed. But Javray was like, I got this. He recruited all the students to come back in, bring the uniform, and we all went and we honored honor guards and visit all the funerals. But he took on the leadership. He's driving the paramedics. You all have created an environment of becoming role models to them that they want to be like you. So they jumping at the chance right away. It's like, we ain't waiting for y'all to move out the way. We going to step in right now. What do you want me to do, Chief? What do you want me to do, boss? We got this. We got this. So I, as the administrative and the civilian, sit back, and when I see these young men, they don't get the news coverage that you see, that the news broadcast covers every night. They are doing something. They're going to change our city. They're going to change our communities. Imagine, just right here, Javar qualifies right now to make a minimum of $72,000 a year. He told you he was homeless.
Yep.
He told you he was a branch manager, so he has some type of level of education.
Absolutely.
But now, fire departments are calling us from all over the country trying to figure out how to get in touch with him to bring them to their state.
Yep.
We're going to keep him here a little bit because we did this. But I'm just beyond impressed, and I'm just grateful that, you would even put us on your podcast, even though you're part of the family, but put them on your podcast just to showcase greatness that's taking place in our communities.
Absolutely. Hey, it's my pleasure and my honor. And I've been 20-ish years. I've been around fire stuff, and you said the state's calling you for him. I remember back home in Ohio, there were, now it's not the case anymore, very few black paramedics. And there is a city, the suburb of Cleveland, and they were like seeing, what was going on, even though that shouldn't be the case in the 2000s, but whatever. They were like, we need a black person. It's between you and me. I went to paramedic school, but I hadn't passed a test. My buddy, we actually knew each other and grew up together. He was a couple years older than me. He's still there now to this day. He took he passed paramedic class. He worked in the city that I got hired in, so it was kind of bump up, move up, because he went on to this other suburb. I went on to the suburb that he left the spot for me at. And for a time, I was the only black paramedic there, and he was the only black paramedic there. So,
wow.
I mean, like you said, places call looking for, what they need going on. I mean, whether it's say, hey, we need women to diversify. Hey, we need black people to diversify. But they put out calls to try and find people. So,
we had a win this week, 21-year-old. His father is a captain out in Maywood, but he was groomed from birth that he was going to be a firefighter.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about,
yes.
Groomed from birth.
Yes.
So we have a picture of this young man, 3 years old, on a fire truck, and his dad's putting a helmet on him. That means he's passing the torch. I want you to get that visual. Yeah. 21 years he put that vision into making, and it manifested this week. 21 years old, graduated from high school, an EMT, a firefighter, an instructor, and now he's a paramedic. Job well done, Dad. Yep. Job well done. But because of you all, and when I say you, black first responders, just being a role model, a mentor for somebody else's kids. We don't know these young men and women.
No, they come through the door.
we don't know them.
They come through and we meet them.
We give them our time.
Yep.
We give them our energy, and we pay their tuition, and we stay on their behinds. But we're sitting across the table today from greatness. This is our future.
Now, speaking of staying on people's behinds, because these stories I've heard about the pit bull in the skirt that when one of these kids do something wrong, you want them like white on rice. Is that the case?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Terry,
yes. Give it to me. Come on,
Terry. If you're not doing something in school, if these people give you opportunities and you missing them, Terry's gonna get on your behind because you're wasting her time. And time is money. Terry do not like to waste it. If she telling you to apply for a fire academy and you're not doing nothing, you just an EMT, you're sitting at home and not doing nothing, she's gonna get on your behind. She's gonna send you the application. She's gonna send these people your number. She's gonna have these people call you. She wants you to become a fire paramedic. She wants you to become a firefighter, a paramedic, and an EMT. She wants you to have all 3 certifications when you're done, even if you don't want them. She giving them to you.
Okay. Terry, how do you have the time? Because, like, I text you and send you stuff, and then you respond, and then you send out advertisements for other stuff. You making graphics and visuals. You shooting videos in here. You, the head social media manager. You just, for lack of a better term, I got the E. You are the shit. You are like awesome. Yeah. So, pardon me for in front of a woman, but it's like no other way to put it. You're awesome.
I'm sure there's about 3 of her somewhere.
Right? You have like Tom Brady clones, and all y'all in the crib, and you just send one out a day to get it done.
Okay, so let me tell you my secret. Number 1, Lieutenant Curtis is my hero. I admire that young man. That he can ride off into the sunset. He could have ridden off into the sunset years ago. But he decided that this was something that he wanted to do. And it's something that I could get behind. I love first responders. Anybody to put their life in danger to save me, I have nothing but the highest respect for you. So when he put this program together and he was like, I'm going to tell you this funny thing. January 2018, he said, we're going to start an organization. It's called the Black Fire Brigade. Make it happen. I said, what's a brigade? He was like, go Google it, look it up on the internet, make it happen. Look what we've done as a family in 3 years.
Yeah.
Approaching 4.
Yeah.
When I get to see your story, when I get to see Nina's story, and I call you all by your first names because I know I need to put some respect on those titles because you a rock star in your own nature.
No, you call me whatever except for late for dinner. So.
It's an honor to be able to serve you all. I get tired of looking at the news every night saying that, the demise of the Black community. I need people to see what we're really making happen. This is going back into the West Side. Our success stories go back into our communities. These young men and women will be buying homes. They will be starting business. They get to walk around in their uniforms. We get phone calls every day. My boy drives an ambulance, and I want to be like him. All we're doing is creating role models on top of role models. So it's my pleasure and it's my honor to come up with creative and strategic ways to promote what it is that we do every day.
Now, 2 things. There's 2 things we got to touch on. The one, you already said it yourself. We live in a violent town, violent city. It's always things on the news about how bad Chicago is. To me personally, being from a whole nother place, I'm more of a optimist, and it's like, unless you go looking for trouble, trouble's not just running up on you. But different people have different opinions. What the brigade does is the slogan is kind of, you take a kid and you show them the opposite of violence, show them how to save a life so that they don't take a life. Where did that mantra or mindset kind of come from?
I'm just going to touch on him briefly, and I'm going to save this for Lieutenant Q because he got something for this next podcast that's going to blow your mind.
Okay.
But Lieutenant Q, we call him just Q.
Just Q,
but I have to put some respect on that title a little bit. But he's from Cabrini Green.
Okay.
He's seen his share of violence from childhood throughout this career. He has served in every major disaster in America. Hurricane Katrina, 9/11, collapsed buildings, pulling people out of fires. He has more rescues than you can imagine. So, knowing where he came from and all the knowledge that he has, you're going to be amazed at the amount of certificates this young man is going to retire with. We got to learn to leave a legacy and pass this wisdom and knowledge to others. So he's, one day driving in an ambulance, pulled up on the west side, jumped out on the corner. It's a group of men there. He said, yo, come here. What you doing with your life? Oh, what's up, old man? He was like, if somebody came by here and shot your boy, what would you do? Call 911. What you going to do until 911 gets here?
Okay.
Oh, I don't know. He said, well, if I can show you how to save your friend's life until 911 gets here, will you be willing to learn? He said, take your belt off. He said, take this belt, apply it above or below wherever the gunshot is, apply pressure until 911 gets here. And he was like, man, who are you? Who are you? What you doing? What you doing? I want to be like you. Just taking time to go into an area you deem not safe.
Yeah.
And just talk to them.
Yeah.
Where can you go as a young man, 18 years old, and say, I want to be a police or firefighter? Not unless you know someone.
I was just about to say, other than here, not many places.
So this is why he's doing this. When he's looking at the news, he was like, if we don't do something, this is coming to your community. This is coming to your front door. You got to, you've deprived the community so much, where are they going to go?
Where they going to go?
They don't have a job.
Yep.
You're not letting them get financial aid to go to school. What do you want them to do? They have nothing. You have all of that. We got to do something about that. We got to bring some of that over back into our communities and bring them some jobs and give them some training. Again, I'm not bragging on you because I don't want all these young ladies calling you Javar. But this young man qualifies to make a minimum of $72,000 a year once he signs a job application.
But that's just the start, right?
The start.
I mean,
$100,000, $150,000 in the next 5 years, you will be a millionaire if you apply and invest your money wisely. And we're going to make sure we do that, because Terry Winston, the pit bull in the skirt, got you. We're not letting anybody run up on y'all, okay?
Yeah, you be hitting them with the start number, which I love and appreciate. That's like, I tell that story again, $34,331.29. That's all I used to walk around saying, because that was what the hiring salary was for a Cleveland firefighter. And even though I didn't get that job, I went all over this country taking tests to get a fire job. So I know you want to be in Chicago. I'm with that. It's awesome. But sometimes, you can't necessarily know how the plan's going to go. Keep taking them tests anywhere for any job. Q came in and told y'all the other day, I ain't going to tell the podcast because it's like a secret test, but that one police test that he was talking about, that sounded like the dopest thing going. I wish I wasn't past the age to take it. I might go back and take that test.
$72K. So we are learning the secrets and we're passing them on to these young men. And we've had 5 saved. I know that's not the correct term, but life rescues since we've been in existence in June 2018. We had one young lady had just completed the course. She was preparing to take her national exam, and that baby drowned at Rainbow Beach.
I remember that.
Everyone was screaming on the beach.
What to do? Yep.
She had a bikini on, fresh out of EMT school, and jumped into action and saved that baby until Chicago Fire Department arrived.
Yep.
So the training that, our students receive, it's just not the classroom. It's what they get on Sundays that's invaluable. when they get to call you and say, can I come hang out with you at the firehouse? And they got an open door policy, and they can have lunch and dinner. We can't wait till COVID gets over with, so they can come in and hang out with you guys.
And then have them cook for us, too, because some of them, I'm sure, is decent behind the stove.
Okay.
Now, speaking of Sundays, this was the other point I wanted to make sure we got to. We, like you said, we have tutoring on Sundays, and all are welcome. Students, past, present, future, all the way around. I bring my kids. Well, when COVID was going on, I used to bring my kids just so they could see what was going on. But we had the distinct pleasure of tutoring Mashawn Plummer, the firefighter that just passed away. And like a lot of times just around the firehouse, anybody know this kid? Anybody know this kid? Well, of course, his instructors from the academy knew him. His firehouse knew him. They had just made a year. But I knew him. You knew him because he came to the brigade. And I just remember he would always use my first name so happy, like, hey, Severin. I just thought that was just so funny. But just those are the type of situations. Those are the type of people we get to make connections with because of what you all created.
I want to tell you the secret behind that. We love that particular group of students because we know right off the gate, once they come into the brigade, their salary is $60-some thousand. Mm-hmm. They just got to get through that course and get through probation, and then they up to some number. Yeah. It's our job and responsibility to make sure that they pass that EMT portion of the fire academy. Yep. And the fact that we saw Palmer and his classmates all pass and graduate, and know that, we just had a little secret recipe in there and watched them just grow and flourish. They all stopped by the brigade this week after the service. And it was just so touching, just to see them -1. It was, like,
because they came through tough. They came through deep. It was like all of them when we were doing the tutoring session. So
yes. So, that tutoring session at the brigade is life-changing. That's all I can say. Okay. You all bring it.
All right, so we're going to get ready to wrap it up. I mean, we could go on forever and ever and ever, but we do want to have a part 2 where we have Lieutenant Q when he gets the opportunity to come back and speak for himself. So before we go, Jabray, I'm going to go to you first. Since you come back and punch the kids in the head if they ain't doing what they supposed to do, what words of wisdom do you have for people in the service and those trying to get into the service?
I would say stay focused, playtime later. Focus on your career first, and then you can have fun afterwards.
I love that. I tell them now, I say, when they are already in the academy, I'm like, just shut it down for 9-6 months, and it'll be greater later. Believe me, trust me. It's hard, but if you got like a girlfriend that's not your wife, tell her, hey, we might have to chill out for a while. If you got a boyfriend that's not giving you a ring, hey, dude, you might have to beat it for a little while, nerd. So, Javar, how about you? Any words of wisdom that you'd like to pass on?
I don't know about it if it's words of wisdom, more just a thought process. Just don't get down on yourself. Keep striving for greatness. There's another day, and every day you have on this earth, you have the opportunity to do something. As small as it may be, you have the opportunity to do something. So keep doing it.
Keep doing it. I like that. Terry, I'm not going to ask you that question because I just wanted to get it from the students to see what their words are, because you're probably going to be back again, or you can send it through Q if you got anything extra.
Yes, sir.
But for all three of you guys, is there any question that I should have asked that I didn't ask, something that you really wanted to say that I didn't hit you with?
No, not really.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it is.
Okay.
For the people that's stopped at EMT, don't want to be a paramedic, I always want to ask them, what's stopping you? And,
that's a great question.
And yeah, you should probably ask. You probably could have asked it like, why didn't you do this straight out of high school? What stopped you? What's prolonging everything?
I have a mini answer for you. Just a mini answer. For me, nothing stopped me. I knew what I wanted to do. And I learned this in a class for teaching. You have to ask someone to like really dig deep for their reasoning for wanting to be a paramedic. EMT, that's the introduction. And, you get to learn, you know what to do. It's a great skill to have. It's a great place to be at. But why stop there when you can know more? Again, for me, I can only speak for myself. I remember the day I said I'm going to be a paramedic. I went on a run as an EMT. A lady was having a heart attack. She was on the ground. And EMTs now have so many more skills than when I went to EMT school. When I went to EMT school, we were like just taking blood pressures and putting Band-Aids on stuff. Now you guys have to know body systems, know how blood travels through the heart. You guys have to know drug interactions for the drugs that you are able to give and everything else. But when I saw this lady on the ground and it was nothing I could do other than regular CPR, I couldn't tube her, I couldn't start an IV. We didn't have AEDs at the time. I just had to do it, and people was around like, I'm glad that ain't my mother, glad that ain't mine, because if it was, I'd be mad. And I just felt so bad that I couldn't do more. The next day, I went to the college and signed up for paramedic school. I said, because I'm going to know what to do or how to do, even if I ain't got nothing but a straw and a paper clip like MacGyver. I'm going to know how to do something, or at least make it look like something. But a lot of times it really, truly, honestly does depend on the department that you're on. Just where you're at, if you want to continue or not. But I think, kind of like you're saying, if you're going to be EMT, why stop there? Why not keep going? Just at least get the knowledge, at least go to school to see you don't like it, is what I say. So, sound good?
Sounds
answer
good.
to you guys? Okay.
Excellent.
Well, thank you again for coming and being on my podcast. I really, really appreciate it more than you know, more than words can really put into my appreciation. You guys were great. You guys are awesome. If you would like to get more information about the Black Fire Brigade, please, you can hit me or Terry. She has all the contact information, and I know you know it off the top of your head. So can you give it to us, please?
You can just visit us online, www.blackfirebrigade.com. Visit us on Facebook and Instagram, Black Fire Brigade.
Yeah. And those, especially Instagram, have some great videos. That's one thing, another thing I wanted to bring up, especially with you, Jabray. The fact that you guys have Class A uniforms and know how to step off, and y'all were the pallbearers for one of the funerals that I saw online. So you guys, I shout out to you, salute to you. Thank you very much. Again, thanks for listening to this episode of Department 3C Presents, a podcast connected to fire. You can connect with us on all socials at Department 3C. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And if you want to connect with me personally, my name is @IamSevy, IamSevy, on all socials as well. And I look forward to hearing from you. Any feedback is what I would like to hear. Website, department3c.com, and email, info@department3c.com. With that being said, thanks for listening. Check you out next time. Happy New Year. Bye.